been the fastest 45 minutes that you'll enjoy for January 25, sorry. My name is Paul Keating. I'm the Continuous Improvement Manager for Wales and Western, and I'll introduce myself this way. I've been at Network Rail for almost 10 years. That's coming up in August, and I don't mind telling you it's gone like that, gone in a heartbeat, the 10 years of it. I specialise in a role called continuous improvement. Bit of a catch-all term, but even my wife doesn't know what I do. I try and explain it, and it goes clean over their head, stuff like that. But when you get into the mechanics of what it is, it's actually quite interesting. I've led the Wales route and Wales and Western in continuous improvement since joining Network Rail 2015. I'm the chair of Network Rail's National Committee for Continuous Improvement. Well, for my sins. Don't know how that's landed at me, but it has. I've been working in this line of work for 28 years. Before coming to Network Rail, I started a vast range of improvements within consumer electronics with a little known Japanese company called Matsushita. Anybody heard of them? Let's try them as their brand names. Technics, Panasonic, and National would be some of the ones that you would hear. Okay. So consumer electronics, we did laptops, mobile phones, tele TVs, microwave ovens, you name it. They were at the heart of doing that as well. I worked in paper for a number of years. I've been a little town called My Steak, improving the way the toilet roll was made, believe it or not, and kitchen roll. It's amazing what you can do when you pull a toilet roll apart and find out how it's made and what the quality in toilet roll is all about. Okay? I spent 12 years in automotive, part with Toyota, part with some of their subsidiaries. And before joining Network Rail, I did the last part of my apprenticeship, if you like, at Carter Steel, mainly in Port Albany. And then part of that delivery for Carter Steel was to introduce something called ISO 55001, which I'm sure you are across the board on, which is the asset management ISO. Qualifications, I've got a bachelor's degree in nothing related to what I do. So that's really interesting. I'm a lean competency system level 3. In our professional world, there are 2 ways that you get yourself sort of recognized for what you do. That's ICIPS, the Institute for Continuous Improvement in Public Service, or through the route of lean competency system level 3. And there are only 3 levels that are split over. So I'm sort of there. I'm a pro-site practitioner, which I did not so long ago. I'm also a member of IOSH, the Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. So that's a little bit about me. So let's define continuous improvement for you. Okay? It's a set of formal tools to improve your workplace performance in all areas of what you do. And it's got your SQ, DCMP, and asset management. Safety, quality, delivery, cost, and people. People are the heart of everything that we do. And they are starting point, even though it comes in the acronym, is improving your people, improving their skills and their knowledge to them. When we work, when we work in continuous improvement, it seems baffling at first, but honestly, it's really simple when you know how, and that's the secret to it. You've got to think of this in everything that they do. It's got to be aimed at the dullest person in the room. That's easy to identify. It's me. Because all of the subject matter experts around here have the built-in knowledge that they have from the professional emphasis of the need to unlock the thought processes to find a way forward. Okay? It's 80% dependent on the cooperation of people around the table or in the room for what you do, because they hold the knowledge. Finding new ways to adapt and use that knowledge, really, it's easily learned. Seems sort of complicated at first. It seems like this bag of tricks that is somehow magic and things happen by luck or judgment, but that's not quite the case. But it is easily learned. It can be transformational for the workplace. There are plenty of companies and organizations who've used continuous improvement to drive changes in the way that they operate. And there could be a number of drivers for that. It could be competition, it could be profit, it could be lowering their operating costs, it could be new competitors coming online, the need to develop something better. And it's really, really, really rewarding. The best part of the job that I do is when somebody comes along and says, thank you. And that's when you know that you've done a good job. Yeah. And that's the bit I like the best. When somebody says thank you. Don't want medals, don't want recognition, don't want my name in lights. That's not the way it works. Working with people like yourselves, do something that's really different. So I'm going to show you a little video now. And this is a bit about the history of continuous improvement, where it comes from. Now, would anybody like to give me a start date for this improvement methodology that we are using, beginning to use today? Tell you what, give me a century. 20th. Any advances on the 20th century? 21st century. This is getting good. The Romans. Shall we find out? So we got 20th, 21st, the Romans. I think we need to somewhere in between.
Comes back to the 16th century. At that time, the Venetian arsenal based in Venice, Italy, started to use an assembly line when manufacturing boats. This could be the first historical example of flow production, which is an important concept of lean thinking. Many centuries later, in 1908, the famous car manufacturer Henry Ford introduced the Model T, a modular car which was built using interchangeable parts. This innovation enabled Ford to pioneer flow production in his Highland Park plant in 1913. By placing fabrication equipment in process sequence, the Ford Motor Company was able to produce cars at a much faster, more effective and efficient rate, and use a moving assembly line. In 1926, Henry Ford added product variety to the manufacturing process and introduced the term mass production. Ford was able to automate the flow of cereals through miles of conveyor belts, and the final assembly line was rolled out to 50 more manufacturing plants around the world. During the 1930s, W. Keating created a process of undertaking continuous improvement, commonly known as the Plan, Do, Check, Act (PDCA) cycle. After World War II, Keating was able to teach the PDCA cycle, the value of statistics, and other quality improvement methods to Japanese businesses. Through this, Keating made a significant contribution to Japan's later reputation for innovative, high-quality products, and its economic power was born out of that. Throughout the 1960s, the Toyota Motor Company gradually developed a management system based on lean principles. Taiichi Ohno led the process of turning the Toyota production system into an integrated framework with a focus on problem-solving, leadership, production operations, supplier collaboration, product and process development, and customer support. Ohno developed a new perspective on just-in-time production when he visited the United States in 1956. He went to visit US automobile plants, but was actually really impressed by his encounter with US supermarkets. At that time, Japan did not yet have many self-service stores. Ohno marveled at the strong customer focus and the way the supermarkets supplied merchandise in a simple, efficient, and timely manner. It was a format that was driven by customer demand and not production. In 1990, the term lean was coined in Jim Womack's book, The Machine That Changed the World. Womack and his co-author wrote an explanation of the fulfillment, product design, supply management, support, and global management system pioneered by the best Japanese companies. Backed up through exhaustive evidence, the book clearly demonstrated the competitive superiority of the Japanese system when compared to the European and North American auto industry. Whilst lean thinking originally came from the realm of manufacturing, it has since been proven to work in the service sector as well. Over the last 40 years, lean has been used by businesses and public sector organizations to develop their services from a customer perspective and reduce running costs. In the last 10 years, central government and the NHS have successfully employed lean across many departments and organizations in order to simplify work processes and structures. The Royal Hospital Bolton is an excellent example of a place where lean has been successful, as they have had 3,700 members of staff directly involved in over 400 improvement events. Another great example is the Department for Work and Pensions, DWP, where the application of lean principles led to a 20% improvement for a variety of performance indicators. In addition, staff and unions are reporting positive improvements in culture and working environments.
Interesting little video. So back in 1500, the Venetian arsenal was building gunboats as a float around the sort of strategy continuous improvement. I'm going to ask you a question before I move on. Anybody bought a pint of milk lately or 4 pints of milk in a supermarket? Put your hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Where was that milk located? In the back of the store. All right. Not quite at the store, but where was that milk stored then?
Near the floor.
Near the floor. In a
Carrying crates.
in a fridge, in a fridge in a cage. Why is the milk in the fridge in a cage? It's called one-touch replacement. It means that if store members and staff members are walking around and they go to the dairy section and look at the milk, they don't have to do a visual count to see how much milk is left on there. They just take the number away because it holds 48 pints of milk. When you remove that trolley, you just put another one straight back into place. It's called one-touch replacement. Fair enough. But generally, if you look at whether you call it manufacturing or the service industry or whatever it is, this is creeping into your lives all the time. Visual management is another one. Anybody try and buy a knife in the supermarket? No? What about a litre of vodka to drink on the park bench? Yes? Did you go through the self-scan machine? What happened when you went through the self-scan machine? Yeah. It lights up, doesn't it? It's called an and-on light, appears at the top, and it flashes what colour for? Red. Why is it flashing red? It's not a trick question. Why is it flashing red? It's flashing red to tell you that you were trying to buy an age-restricted product. And it's not because you can't pay or you've not used the machine properly. It's telling the staff what they're going to look for when they come to serve you. What if it's an orange light? Age-restricted product to 16 instead of 18. So all of these things are there working. And then when you put your club card in and you scan something, it takes a count. And that count goes back to a supercomputer somewhere. And the supermarkets can then tell how much they need to order of the 4 pints of milk or the litres of vodka that you've consumed or sold out of that store in the last 24 hours. And magically overnight it comes back and it's replaced again by what they call just-in-time production or just-in-time growth. Really clever. Just around us all the time. The world leaders at the moment, I wouldn't say NHS, believe it or not, NHS blood and transplant. Absolutely fantastic the way that they've transformed their operation to deliver a pint of blood from when they take it to a lab onto a ward within 40 minutes. Really, really clever. So I mentioned at the beginning that it's a structured way of looking at things with a toolkit, if you like. Just think of it, this toolkit as your toolkit at home. You open the box, it's got a screwdriver, a spanner, a hammer, a saw, etc. My toolkit is a little bit different. Stops and put the voice of the customer. What is my customer asking me for? Does the customer really want them? Do I understand what our customer wants? As suppliers to the railway or people in the railway, we all have customers. What is it they actually need? And when we come up against a problem, we call it practical problem solving. How often do you do a problem and you think that you know the answer because maybe it's that before? So you lick your finger, you stick it in the air, the wind is blowing from the southeast at 5 miles an hour, so it must be this. Well, actually, sometimes it's not because you pick something and you believe you've done it and the problem repeats itself. So let's do it properly. Policy deployment's really boring. What do the people at the top want you to do, and do you understand how it's working when you get to the bottom? Simple. If not, you're not very good at it. You do, great. Workplace organisation. How you organise a workplace. Stores, for example, a supermarket, the office, to connect people to do things as easily as possible. Something that is becoming really sexy in the world is called value add and non-value add. What are the things that we do that add value to what we're doing as opposed to the stuff that we do just for the sake of doing it and therefore are wasting time and money? Simple definition, value add. Value add is something transforms its form, fit or function. Make add value to the domain. There's 8 ways. I'm not going to go through them now, but they make up an acronym called TIMWOOD. Believe it or not, transport, inventory, motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, and defects. All of those are a waste to our industry. If you ever say that we're going to get rid of TIMWOOD, make sure that he's not in the office when you say it, because he's going to think he's going to get people. Visual management, the gentleman at the back, the fence, about the lights, and on and glasses, and on lights as well. Yeah, really clever. The way you cross the road on a road island is visual management. Have you ever thought about this one? You cross the road into a steel barrier, which is L-shaped or that shape. Then you turn and you walk that way. And then when you get to the end, you turn and you force the other way. Every time you look at that, it's not because they want you to walk across and down. It's because every time you turn, you are looking at the oncoming traffic. Really, really clever about these things. Standard work. You're all about standards. How these standards are applied and developed, and how you make that repeatable for the people who are doing the work. Time and time and time again. Yes, it can become boring and repetitive, but you know that you were going to record it. Plan, do, check, act. Plan to do something, you do it. You check that the outcomes are right, and if they're not, you act on those outcomes and do it again and have another go. Free experiment. I like this one. Go look, see. Who's going to be brave enough to offer me an answer as to what go look see means?
Well, it's fact finding.
Sort of.
Going out and looking at what processes, what's actually happening.
You got it, Andy? Just go out and have a look. What is actually going on there in the work that is good? Understand what it is. Process mapping is about looking at one particular process and how you get from this point to this point and make sure that everything in between is mapped out so you know what you're doing and what the transactions are. And this one is really, really sexy if you're an engineer. Error proofing. What do you think that's about?
What it means to do something or product will only function instead of doing it.
Absolutely spot on. The best example, by design, probably in the world. We find you to get out into the market in the later. It's not just the shape, is it? What else is there on just anything else?
Yes, the Earth pin opens the gate so you can't make contact with the lawyers.
Absolutely. The other thing, the top one is longer than the other two. When you don't opens the socket, this is very cool. So all of these formal tools are built into what we call the system. To be used in various ways to improve what it is that we do day to day. At the moment, and hopefully we'll maintain this, Network Rail's Continuous Improvement Programme is accredited by the LCS, the New Competency Test, based out of Cardiff University. So that gives the people that we work with every day the opportunity to learn these skills and get some sort of personal certification in this, improve their own development as well. Okay, they're mentored and driven through the way that they learn these skills. Network Rail was the first organisation in the world, to achieve this accreditation 6 years ago. So that's a marker and a stamp in our passport, if you like, of what it is that we do. But interestingly, the Department of Transport is probably one of 2 government departments that does not hold accreditation for the LCS and continuous improvement. fantastic when they're our Lord and Masters, for want of a better term. But you see the irony that somewhere further down, we are doing something right. Sorry about that. So what does that mean for us? Right, so you've got this accreditation to LCS. Let's have a look at the company that we keep. Anybody want to go for Barclays, BBC, Aviva, HSBC, KPMG, the consulting firm, Boeing around here somewhere. They've got recently, right? But the Lifeboat, Royal London, Home Office, the Tools Group, Lloyd's Group, on here, British Gas. When you look at the companies around the world, they're blue chip companies, and we hold the same accreditation for our continuous improvement program. People in here.
Does it offer a benchmarking ability as well? So, yeah, so like asset management, you can see how you're all doing compared to a selection of the similar companies or whatever.
Yeah, you know, they all have to have a level of capability within their organization to deliver continuous improvement. They have training plans and methodology for tracking all the work that is done, how they measure their benefits, what their outputs are, etc. So they all have to be measured. General expectation, revenue, and then one of the latest ones was NHS blood and transfer. So I'm going to show you a little video now. This is called Founder. Anybody seen the film? No?
I've seen it some while ago.
Okay. So there's two guys. They're called McDonald. Does that ring a bell? Yeah? Okay. So it's called. Hang on, let's watch.
All my years in the police service, It's a really incredible story that shows you the excitement of this company at the beginning. And what it must have felt like. Work on but this is meant to be hard. So this is vertical printer now at 30 seconds. But they started, it really created something that Red Cross saw as some future. You don't even realize what You're on real estate.
So everything that they put in the kitchen was designed from fresh, new, the sifters. They redesigned the kitchen on a tennis court, workplace organisation. Ray Kroc, the guy that was there portrayed by Michael Keating, sold them the milkshake makers. He was a travelling salesman who sold them the milkshake maker. Okay? And he couldn't believe that somebody was placing an order for 6 milkshake makers. He was struggling to sell one a month. So when he went out to see them, he stumbled across that. I'm not going to give the rest of it away. Go home, watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. Quite a sad story. If you think about how they have transformed, improvement, and how they've done it, it's a really good example. So let's do a bit of myth busting. Anybody seen this TV program? Why am I putting this up? Any idea?
There's probably a lot of myths about what continuous improvement is all about. Yeah.
Absolutely. Would anybody like to proffer an idea as to what some of the myths about continuous improvement are about? That it's expensive. Okay. Anything else?
It's imposed on you.
It's imposed on you. Okay. So some of the common themes that get fed back to people like myself is cost cutting. Yes, we want to reduce our operational cost, but we want to reduce it in a way that we're not wasting the money that we have. It's different from just slashing a budget. You're not going to do the deals of the railway by slashing the stationary budget. It ain't going to happen. Okay, so it's about using our money wisely. It's never a way to make redundancies. That is something that is always transmitted back, that you use continuous improvement to get rid of people. Not true, actually. We use continuous improvement to employ more people because we can create capacity to make them more. It's an add-on to your day job, Andy. Did you know that? And you, Jim? Something extra that you would be brought, that we are giving you to do to make your life harder. Clearly not. It's something that is an accompaniment to your day job that gives you the opportunity to work ideas and make that easier. It's not anti-trade union. Trade unions are welcome. They are some of my most important customers in what we do. Because essentially, part of the work that we do is safety first, and that looks after the members, the trade union, and our goal of everybody going to it every day. Non-negotiable. A cure for all, or a magic bullet. Nothing I can do in this workplace for Network Rail can get anybody like Andy or James charged with the Kennedy assassination. It's not going to happen. And I don't have all the answers. These are learned people have the answers of the ideas. And the myth is it's difficult. Really not that difficult. So, just to prove that it's not that difficult, I'm going to give you a little exercise to do for 10 minutes. You up for that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Right, I need to split the room into 2 sections. So it's probably that. Lee, you work on it? Yeah, we'll take 5 and the gentleman with the glasses on that side. And we'll take the 6 over this side if that's okay. Okay? Right. Ideally, this group can stand sort of next to the desks and work in a line. Is that all right? Okay. Right. There's 3 for you. Right. Oh, there's 3 for me. Has anybody done this before? I think so. All right, James, just don't think of you away. Put the lids on this. Right. Just going to see. We're going to work in a process, are we? So if you put that one on the floor, put the chair at the back behind the gentleman in pink. Okay. And I'm going to put this one here. Like that. Okay. balls at the top, 3 balls at that end. And repeat. Right. What I'm going to do is throw each of those balls gently to the person next to you, and then get this gentleman here, who's then going to kick it into the pot with the top in it. Oh, and the same is going to happen over the way that way as well. Okay. Now, we're going to time you. Andy is going to help me on this one. Paper. Right. So we're going to time you. And when we time you, you are going to incur some cost. Right? You'll be glad to know. It's £100 for every second. That takes you to the yeah, you're over here. Okay, so what we tell you when we say go, it's £100 for every second. It's one ball at a time down the line. It's £500 for everyone that bounces out of the pot. And it's 500 quid for every time you drop a ball. If you drop a ball, it goes back to the start of the game. We happy with that? Yeah? Right, Andy, when I say start, if you will just keep an eye, any drops and any bounce outs, and then hopefully 1, 2, 3, 4. That's from there. From there. From there. Oh, this is going well. Oh, that's not going well. Okay, stop. You got a time with that, Andy? Who's got that? Right. So on this piece of paper, on the line 1, have to process the ball.
Total, yeah, 39 seconds.
So that's 39 times 100. And you know that how much that. Yeah, you know right on that? Right. This thing is not the bottom. I don't know. So it's in there. That's not fun. Okay. Yeah, okay. So there's an extra £500 on that. Right. How many balls have done?
How many bounce out?
But we're all in the pot.
Yeah.
Plenty of little left. You got 5,000 and you've got 5,000. I'll give you, I'll pretend, if one tweet dot com,
Taking place. Okay.
That's 2 tweets.
All right.
So what's the water in 1 tweet? You got to do the same?
The,
You replace it from when you signed it. So that will be the. Then go over and when we put it cost to the next one, then we want next time. Happy? Let's go again. Ready? Let's pick up one more. We're going down to the end. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. No blocks to this thing, 1 bouncer, that's it. What was the number say?
One voucher, I don't think we have any problem.
If you give marks, you are temporary. Two, two, 1, 0. Almost 50% down when you get one thing. What's the next move? Okay, quick. Each team, do something a bit different.
Fine, so what we're going to do then?
So you're going to bring it to a happy?
Mm-hmm.
All right. The trade. 3, 2, 1, go. What is it wrong? This board is going to be your idea. That's fine. Okay.
You found this out, so that's fine.
11 seconds from the floor. No bonus.
39 seconds. We had 2 drops, I think we had a bounce out. 2 drops.
Bonus 500. Yeah, and 10 quid. Yeah. So, decide if they leave them, what, 600 quid out, yeah. What are you going to do? And what are you going to target? So
Okay, drop in the bond is okay. We can Yeah. Sorry. Oh, yeah. 13 seconds. One drop. One drop. One more round. Okay, what will we do now? Right, come on then. What will we do? Last year, yeah. 20 quid. What would it be?
Who's got it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Good.
Nine seconds. 9 seconds. Yeah, so no drops. Straight in. Yep.
Evolve. Nobody has thought about moving cells.
If that's what we do. Something's closed up and bought the box closed.
There's a lot of people that know. They're focusing on that. And the next thing you probably would have done is drops for the location. And we have that. But a simple explanation of Just checking the time. I haven't got long left. I got. There we are. Okay. Thank you, gents. Did you enjoy that?
Yes.
Bit of fun.
Yes.
Yeah. You get the sort of the principles about how you approach the challenges that you put.
It certainly shows the importance of the act and do act.
Yeah.
But I think we quite often bad at. So we do it. If it's all worked all right, then you don't bother with the act. But we look at where things can't focus on things that have failed rather than things that have gone well.
Yeah, absolutely. All of our metrics, if you think about it, are mean time between failure, mean time to repair. You've got to go out and fix something, or the average time you do it. What about things like OEE, if you've never come across that? Overall equipment effectiveness. How parts of your railway perform as an average with all of the assets put in, or all of your manufacturing cells, or whatever it is that we use. Okay, so a little while ago, Andy was really kind, and we came to him with an idea around zero halves, error-proof, battery-operated torques. That's on our fish plates and our sleepers.
The background is a common cause of track buckle is fish parts that have been over-tightened because the equipment we were using is not particularly accurate and being good well. I mean, if tight is good, then ridiculously tight's got to be better, isn't it? Whereas if you're talking about fish plated joints, you want movement in there. So yeah, so it's a real big win potentially.
So I'll show you a little video after this because I wasn't going to include it, but I will show that shortly. But in terms of our health and safety, we said on SQDCP has hand-arm vibration syndrome. It's not something that we want to be flicking on our colleagues. We want to look after their health, their long-term health from that way. We failed our HABs audit. They're unsatisfactory, so we have to do something a bit different. Okay? We have an opportunity to phase out 28 different other tools that include pneumatic, petrol-driven, also a lot heavier as well. And there's a reduction in the noise. You can actually knock that noise. We don't require to tote petrol around in our vans if we're not filling up petrol-driven tools for this task. That's got to be one. Okay? The risks that you have alongside of filling up petrol tools. And in our performance, if we can get a reduction in the work arising on the number of faults that we're generating because we are getting right that quality driven, that's a winner. And then we don't have to go back and do things like we call SIN 105 work, which is mandated on us because we can do something is not quite right. And these things give us something called an asset history. All of the operations that you do are recorded. They give you a report. It shows you what's been done. If anybody was to audit what Andy or the maintenance teams of everything, they go back and pull the report and say, when we did it 5 months ago, it looked like that. If something's amiss now, it may be because it's another cause, but we know that we did it, that they were right when we left it, and we're right this one.
This is a really interesting one because this kit is actually slower than doing it with a nut runner.
It is.
And the first complaint we got people, oh, it's too slower. But in fact, the saving due to having a positive record of what you did on the night by bolt is really useful. And the cost of rework, you do it, you find there's some uncertainty in it, you have to go and do them all again, which is a massive undertaking. So I think it should sort of illustrates this idea that it's not about reducing peg, whatever.
Absolutely not.
In fact, it's a new equipment, but it takes longer to do, but it's foolproof. You cannot take it off until it's taught the bolt to what you asked it to talk it to within a small range. Yeah? If you can't move on, it won't let you move on. You've done it.
You could physically pick it up and walk, but you're not going to do any more bolts. So, at the moment, we're only using this as a P-way application. We've not yet looked at OLE.
I think the OLE did some trials, didn't they? But,
we've not looked
at for any voltage.
Signaling, gantry work, or any of that. We've not looked at. So we don't already have to just over 11 million quid's worth in the next 5 years if we can make these things. What did it cost us? Somebody's going to ask the question. To get potentially 11 million quid back, it gives our hands to get all of that thing just short of £230,000. And a lot of work.
Got a huge amount of support from some suppliers in terms of building prototypes and testing equipment, because obviously they see a big advantage in it from their point of view as well. It's something that's going to help them. So it was and a lot of people out on the ground and trying it out for us as well. Yeah, to see how it really helped. Yeah. So.
Okay. Some other stuff that we've done, we've remodeled what we call a rolling forecast process for finance. That's like eating a water biscuit wrapped in a Far East rusk. That's really dry. But then we realised that while we're doing all the financial planning and the timelines that we have it in, that the timeline that we were doing it in was too long for the timeline that we were given. So we've had to go back and remodel that as well. So it's not just about the engineering and the technical steps, sometimes it's around the boring stuff that you have to do. And believe it or not, we set up a depot in Bagland, that's just outside Port Talbot, and we used something called the user service requirement to look at the containers that we wanted to put our spare parts in, to help us define what they would look like properly, rather than just go pick one up off the shelf, make a plastic about so big, and then put 20 fish plates in it and you can't lift it. Risk injury. What did we want to do with it? So let's start asking questions in a really sort of structured way. So we're beginning to use this toolbox again. And the last one, and the informal one finds in here. Andy, isn't it? Anthony, sorry, Andrew, and Will. Right. Do you remember, you might not, Will, do you remember going back a little while that your average pit stop was 10 seconds if you did it really well? Okay, have a look at this. Just copy off a minute for this one. Question is, how did they do it? How did they go from 10 seconds to 2 seconds? They had a massive advantage of the bit lift.
Break the process down and look at what every little bit of the process.
Break the process down into little bits and understand what you need to do to speed up. Simplest one. There used to be 4 wheel nuts on each hub. And there's only one. Okay? Easy. Did anybody notice what happens with the jack? Front jack. Huh? When they put it in and then when they drop it, what happened with the front jack?
Car comes onto it,
Yeah.
and then lifts it, and at the end pulls it out to the side.
He doesn't pull it out to the side. It's on a hinge, isn't it? He drops the thing and stands aside.
Yeah.
So what they've realised is if you were still standing in front of the car when you drop it, it's not going anywhere. But if we make the jack flat, and then you can hinge off to the side, and then from here you just go straight out and you're not in the way. So they've taken the analysis of what you were doing to shorten the time of the cars in the pit by making more changes to what they. By the way, they got the lights as well at night, which is red, red, red. It's not good, down, they don't really that. Go back to the early mid-90s, whatever it was, took 28 people to change and service a Formula One car in the pits. How many people does it take now? For 2 seconds? No. No.
Probably more.
Exactly the same number because nothing's changed. Right? They still need 4 people per wheel. They still need front and rear jacks. They still need the start again.
Not what's changed, how we do it.
Exactly. They haven't changed anybody. You still need the same amount of people. But in a sport, if you like, where a thousandth of a second is everything, 8 seconds is a lifetime. There you go. Just some of the achievements that we've done in Network Rail as a team. We've won 2 safety awards in 10 years, which is something to be proud of. Winners of the Institute for Continuous Improvement Public Service Award for 2019. Credited to the LCS within 4 years of starting our program. 84 people have achieved personal certification in continuous improvement through rail learning. A TDT with the HPSS point system. Yeah, will reorganize the factory floor so that they'll stop making 1 machine every 2 weeks to making 4 a week. Just by changing the way that dynamic works and how you start. Like Mowbray, the RDC, we rearrange the stores and stocking points for doing spares and quick changeover as well. Really simple stuff. And then since 2015, we've pocketed 23 million quid worth of efficiencies. Not by making anybody redundant or doing that, but by simply changing the dynamics of it. And that's it. So if anybody would like to ask me any questions, then please feel free. And
Is there any questions online?
we're way less than
Can I say at this point as well, one of the other things, it's the sand bits now as well, isn't it?
champion training.
So we've, at the depots now, basically it's called the sand pit, but basically it's a practice area. They've got some switches and some track set up. And again, it's just looking at, rather than the first time you do something for real, it's under pressure at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. There's an opportunity to get people together to do what the Formula One do. Can we do this better? What do we need? What tools do we need? Things like that. So it's engaging the guys right at the front line. The S&T tool plans was the other one, wasn't it?
Yes.
One of the first things we did with engaging with people is what do you need to carry in your van? Yeah. And that was really, really interesting because we had fans who were actually quite good at what they carried. They thought about it, and we had fans with everything you could conceivably think of stuffed into the van just in case. The end tended to be you couldn't find what you wanted when you needed it. So again, just looking at what do you need to carry on your van for the work you're typically doing. Right. Any other questions? Silence.
I'll pop out of this and I'll just show that quick video for the talk,
Okay.
Andy, if that's all right with you.
So yeah. So and again, it's one of these. It's been called lots of things. It's one of them called now. It's been called good quality management and things like that. But it's all about that. It all comes down to that plan, bin, review, act process. It's each time. So we planned the job. We did the job. We reviewed how we got on. Do we need to change anything before we go around again? You know.
James, you're just going to stop sharing the one window to share the other one, all right?
Yeah, so why does this team over here manage to do it so much better than the team over here? What are they doing that the other teams are doing? And is it important?
Sorry, James, I will get that in a second.
Sorry. Any other?
For sure.
We had some challenges, I think.
That's a
So
really good question.
the nut liner one was a good example because the one of the most difficult bits was changing
Is that right? Okay.
changing the standards. Because to make it work, you needed a tolerance on the bolt tool. And it was only a 5% tolerance. It's a very tight tolerance, but you needed a tolerance. And getting that in, I don't think it still hasn't been put in the national standard.
No.
And now there's a local variation to do it. So that can be a challenging. And
Sorry, who asked the question, Andy? Because my head was down. I didn't see it.
Just saying, what are the challenges?
But on that particular one, Andy's right. It's about challenging the standard and the way of doing things. For me, generally, convincing people that they have a time to experiment and they can do it in the time that they've got. And getting people to allow other people to try these things and do it. That's the biggest challenge. Once you get a big win or a big tick in the box, it becomes easier and easier and easier.
Yes.
As a bypass from the next product, we're going to have to deal with it.
For the top guns,
Yeah.
the guns were off the shelf already approved.
But yes, you would have to
You want
apply
normally, yes.
product approval to it. Yeah. Or the torque guns wasn't particularly an issue because they were already in use for other applications. It was just the new application of using for that. But
Yeah.
but again, the key to getting people on is the people here, the guys who work for you out in the field, the ones who understand the process and can, don't get me wrong, we came up with some fairly dodgy ideas but as well. But it's about having the structured process that
Click on the video now, maybe at the bottom. On your screen.
I'm on it. I'm sharing it.
Ask presentation online.
Oh,
I'll ask the questions. Can I online?
yeah, go on, fire away.
So Rebecca Selleck asks, where do you think the next big opportunity for lean network rail lies?
I don't think. Let's do lean. Lean is an output of the other things.
Yeah.
The next big thing for improvement, improvement in network rail is asset management. But for me, there is no. No, our asset management across the board has to get a lot better. And that's not just having a list of our assets. That's working your way possibly through the ISO gyms and things like, if you look at the principles of maintenance, that we have a maintenance regime that supports our assets and people able to do it. But also, if you peel that onion, we have the spares in the right place. We have the right amount of spares. We have the material for the job. You know, down to that level, not just
Completely good.
the stuff that you see.
Do you have a question?
No, not.
Oh, I get away with this. Right, there we are. Now we've done. But I don't know why. I can put that there. Right, and you want me to share?
Yeah, share it. Well, so,
If I do share screen. That's looking hopeful. Blue. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is that kit we were talking about.
So Anthony, we were talking earlier about whether, you know, that frame that you had on the things that you were using, we stuck a nose cone again, for want of a better term. Okay, we've put a nose cone that allows people to do. So I'll just run this. It's not very long. What I'll do, I'll turn the light because you can see the video. Yeah.
No, talk, this is after your.
Yeah. Reaction on.
The physical one fish box is exactly the same thing, except it's got a right angle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gearbox,
it's
and then the reaction arm that sits at top of the rails with the socket and sort of weight shape. Okay, there we are, man.
Right.
Any other questions, James, online? No.
I don't think so. Some possibly talking something about. No, they just say thank you.
Right. If there's no further questions in the room, then can I ask Andrew to propose those topics?
Before you finish, Andy, can I just say thank you for listening to me this evening, and thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to part with this.
I'm going to say thank you very much to Paul for giving us such an enlightening talk tonight. I must say, one of the things as secretary last year was making my usual pilgrimage up to Rail Live just to see what was going on in the industry. And it was in the afternoon, I suddenly saw this huge drawbridge on the floor with what I subsequently discovered was a small drill on the end of it, which is what Paul was Keating on. And we got talking about torque wrenching. I've been trying to repair my car over a pit for the last 18 months, and I'm nearly there, but torque wrenching up bolts was quite a process. And so we were talking about it, and then suddenly discovered that the company was in fact from Philly, I think.
Yes.
And Paul was actually working in this office. That was obvious to say, can you come and talk to us about all this? And I must say, it's a bit disappointing that we're such a, shall we say, a mature group of people, because one of the things we did talk about was really trying to instill in our younger members the importance of this continuous improvement, because they're the people that will really take it forward. So I think we need to do a bit of enlightenment still on that. But Paul, for those that were here, for me in particular, in a splendid talk this evening, really enjoyed it. And probably only, if I may say, we'll continue this discussion in the Prince of Wales in a few minutes.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Paul. Can I just ask everybody to join me in that?
Just before we go, are there any issues from the last meeting? Okay. The next meeting was going to be, it's on the 10th of February. It's How Water Affects the Railway by Ian Fox, which I'm sure will be an interesting subject for us as well. Okay. So that's our next meeting, 10th of February. Okay. So has everyone signed the sheet? Right. So there's no more business. I'll have to close the meeting. Thank you very much.
Ian Fox. Ex of Tata Steel?
No?
No? Okay, just checking.
Ian Fox.